Hi, this is Todd Grisham, former WWE backstage interviewer, voice of Friday Night SmackDown, occasionally the voice of Raw, host of Bottom Line, the WWE Experience. The list goes on and on and on. I'm currently with ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. You are tuned in to the Monday Night Carlo, sports and entertainment sportscast. And now, without further ado, I give to you the one and only Carlo.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Monday Night Carlo, the premiere, the return, the epic return of Monday Night Carlo. It is August 4th. It is a Monday, and on the line we have the man, the myth, the legend. There's Rob Wainfur of the beardedtrio.com, a good pal of mine, a man who's been instigated into Movie Night Carlo before with the Jaws specials. Rob, how you doing, man? How are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honour to be on the show. Legend?
Okay, so bring us in by telling us a little bit about you and the beardedtrio.com.
Well, the Bearded Trio is a website that celebrates all the work of Steven Spielberg, George Lucas and John Williams.
Right.
They've been a big influence in my life right back from 77. I think you can probably guess from that year why.
Yeah.
I started the Bearded Trio 5 years ago. I wanted to celebrate their work, and I couldn't see a website that celebrated all three of them.
Right.
So I thought the Bearded Trio is a good way of celebrating their work, and I post daily from everything, all the news on Star Wars 7, George Lucas, Spielberg, John Williams, Shower Foundation, you name it. If it's associated with those three, then it goes on the website.
That is pretty cool. So I'm guessing it was George Lucas that first caught your eye, yeah?
How did you get that from 77? I could have said Close Encounters. It was 77. Star Wars. My brother asked me if I wanted to go and see Star Wars. My brother, unfortunately, no longer with us, but he asked me if I wanted to go and see Star Wars, and I didn't know what it was. I was only 5 years old at the time, and I thought, any trip to the cinema is like going to Alton Towers. Yeah, sure. So I remember going to see it, and we got to the cinema. It was only a 2-screen cinema, and they were only showing Star Wars on one of the screens.
Right.
And the queue was right around the building, and we queued for hours and hours. You can imagine a 5-year-old queuing up for hours.
added to the tension right there.
Oh, yeah, it did. But the funny thing is, after all these years, I don't actually remember seeing Star Wars for the first time.
Right.
I think those couple of hours have been erased so many times, like a video, like a Scotch videotape.
Yeah.
Erased over again, that memory. That, I don't actually remember that bit.
I think for me, I didn't, because I wasn't born till 79. But for me, I watched I didn't get to see Star Wars until they'd done the re-release, the special editions.
Right. Yeah.
But I just remember being blown away, even though I've obviously seen it tons of times on TV. But when you first see it in the cinema, even though I'd seen it before on TV, I was blown away. So I can only imagine as a kid how you must have felt after it.
Yeah. I remember coming out of the cinema and just bugging my brother all the way home, saying, "Oh, can you quote that line, or can you hum the theme from the Yeah, and it was just from that moment on that everything had to be Star Wars, Ken of Star Wars, the cards, Star Wars, anything on the TV, a little snippet I had to see. And
That is very cool.
Raiders of the Lost Ark came along then, and then that was another thing I was blown away with, and that was Spielberg. So that, it was those two movies that sort of triggered it all off for me.
So was it Raiders of the first Spielberg movie that you ever saw?
Yeah. It wasn't Close Encounters, which was out, in '77.
Yeah.
I was too young for that. I didn't know what that was all about. There wasn't any. It didn't look like there was any action in it, so I was too young for that. But Raiders of the Lost Ark, I remember going to cinema and seeing this trailer for this adventure film. And it was just again sensory overload. Wow, that looks amazing. So again, went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. Couldn't get enough of it. I thought the subject matter was great, even at that age. And John Williams connection again. I think it was at that point I thought, well, I played my Star Wars 33 RPM LP to death on my little record player. And then Raiders of the Lost Ark came along, and I thought, well, this is someone called John Williams as well. And then I was starting to hint and get the idea that this guy knows what he's doing. And I saw Spielberg and George Lucas, and I associated George Lucas with Star Wars, and it just all kicked off from there.
That's funny. That's so funny, though. I mean, even as a kid, you just get so... I remember when I first watched like Jaws and Close Encounters, and all you wanted to do, even as a kid, was to find out about the actors and what other films they'd been in, because... I remember watching Jaws, and when I watched Richard Dreyfuss in it, the first thing I wanted to know is, what other films has this guy been in, And that's when I found out about Close Encounters, and then it rolled on from there.
Yeah, the funny thing is about Jaws, my first memory of Jaws was my brother getting in trouble with my parents, because my parents had said, you're not going to see that.
Yeah.
And I remember my brother sneaked out and went with his mates to see Jaws, and come back and had such a roasted. And that's my first memory of Jaws.
So let's talk about John Williams. I mean, is there a soundtrack that is your ultimate favourite to this day?
I knew you were going to ask me that question. That is such a hard question to answer. But the thing is, there are so many. I mean, I would have to say straight away, good in my head, Jurassic Park is up there.
Oh man!
I think for the last 21 years, every single day without fail, I think I may have hummed or whistled the Jurassic Park theme tune at some point during the day.
That's funny, isn't it? You know how it kind of catches in your head, these little moments. That's funny because when I'm at work, I'm going around and I'm a massive Jaws fan, and I'll quote Jaws all day long, and I don't even know I'm doing it. Like I'll call people chief all day long.
Tell me about it. I mean, I do that all the time, and there's some people now that are quite well into their films, and they will know that I'm quoting something,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Jaws or Jurassic Park, and go, hold on to your butts.
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
We started something here now, haven't we?
That's going to be however long this podcast lasts is going to be the theme. We're just going to drop in quotes all the way through.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to need a bigger podcast.
So I mean, going back to John Williams, for me, I don't even know how you picked a favourite, because for me, I think every single soundtrack for me is different, and just I love the sound of John Williams. There is a particular sound and a particular vibe with John Williams. You know what I mean? You get that same throughout whatever film it is. Very recognisable.
What I like about John Williams as well is if you've had a stressful day,
yes,
you know instantly there are going to be some John Williams tracks that you can put on, put your headphones on, and you're instantly going to be relaxed. And Yoda's theme, for instance, that springs to mind. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Yoda and the Force instantly takes me back to my being an 8-year-old playing with my Star Wars figures in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Leia's theme, Marion's theme as well from Raiders. They're all I love the soft pieces from John Williams, and it's just instantly relaxing.
That's just so clever as well.
And do you know what's so good as well is that you can instantly play the scene from the movie in your mind just by listening to John Williams.
Yeah, you can instantly pinpoint where in the movie it was, where it came in, and that's very, very clever. So I've got a question for you. I know you're a big fan of George Lucas, and I'm not knocking George Lucas at all, but I've got to ask you this question.
Okay.
How come, other than Indiana Jones and Star Wars, how come there's never been another sort of big George Lucas movie? What is it about George Lucas that doesn't sort of lend himself too well to other films? I don't know.
I've been asked this question before.
It just seems weird to me, you know?
Yeah. Do you know what I think? I think when you create a universe like Star Wars, and two of the biggest franchises in movie history,
yes,
Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Why would you want to create anything else?
That's true.
Especially Star Wars. Star Wars is George Lucas's baby. It's a bit like J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter.
Yes.
Terry Pratchett with Discworld.
I guess that's a bit like Francis Ford Coppola with The Godfather as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Tolkien with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. When you create something so magical, so
massive,
three-dimensional, so massive as Star Wars, why would you want to go from that? And I think it might have been his own worst enemy, because I think at some point in his career he probably wanted to. He wanted to go and make some smaller movie, and he did towards the end of his working career.
Have you seen Red Tails?
I actually liked Red Tails.
Yeah, I did.
I've probably been a bit biased with George Lucas, but I thought, well, I'll watch it. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and it was a movie that he was talking about for years and years. He wanted to make. He could never get around to it for one reason or another, because of Star Wars or something like that. And then he eventually got around to it, and he always had this ambition that he wanted to make smaller movies. But he's always going to be associated with Star Wars, just like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, etc. It's that's his thing.
Also another thing I always wonder. Going back to Steven Spielberg, I wonder if, like the general public, what movie, if you named Steven Spielberg, I wonder what movie they would say back to you.
Spielberg, I would probably say Raiders, Indiana Jones. I probably would say. Do you think maybe what do you think in general? What do you think in general the general public would say if you said Steven Spielberg? I would say it would probably be either Jaws, E.T. or Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, such a massive backlist. But yeah, it's just funny about George Lucas. I think you're right, though. I think the whole thing, when you've created such a massive world, why tinker with that? Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well. I think I'm going to kind of obviously defend George Lucas as well. I think there's a trend at the moment, especially on the internet, that it's a trendy thing to bash George Lucas. Yeah. I know that prequels wasn't, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody liked the prequels, but just because you don't like a movie doesn't instantly mean that director is. No. Let's bash him, and I think that it's trendy at the moment to bash George Lucas. And you got to remember, George Lucas has contributed so much to the movie industry. You think, what was this guy brought? Not just Star Wars and Raiders, but ILM and Skywalker Sound. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Pixar. If it wasn't for him, even the creator of Photoshop said, if it wasn't for George Lucas and an ILM, we wouldn't have had Photoshop. So, the way that editing is done in movies, he changed so much. We've got so much to thank for because of George Lucas. Let me tell you something about the prequels, shall I? I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not going to knock the prequels, and I'm also going to say this: it could have been the greatest movie that they could have ever made, and it still would have got bashed.
Absolutely, and you know, and it's because everybody's grown up. You know,
Yeah.
You watch the Star Wars movies as a 5-year-old. You grow up, you watch a prequel. You're in your 30s. Of course, you're not going to watch it in the same way that you watched it when you were a 5-year-old.
Let me tell you something else. My cousins are little, and they've seen when they watch the prequels, they absolutely adore them.
Yeah, I mean, you ask a certain age group about the prequels, say up to a 10-year-old, and they will say their favourite character is Jar Jar Binks.
And we absolutely hate him, don't we? Come on.
He's not my favourite character. And I tell you, if you people say, well, the prequels it's not that in depth. If you go and watch the Clone Wars,
yes,
you go and watch the Clone Wars, you will realise how in depth and how much there is to the prequel universe. And then you go back and watch the prequels.
I mean, I played the games and I've read some of the novels. I know there's a whole universe there to be tapped into.
Yeah. But there you go. That's my defence of the prequels and George. I feel good now.
Okay, so let's move on to LucasArts. I know you're a massive fan. I know I am as well. What is it about LucasArts that first grabbed your attention?
LucasArts, where do I start? Lucasfilm Games. See, I'm sure obviously I'm old enough to remember when it was Lucasfilm Games. And I think you would have to say, I do remember Ball Blazer, but that's going way, way back. But the biggest game that caught my attention was, of course, Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Guybrush Threepwood. I just remember playing it. I think it was on my Amiga.
Yes.
Commodore Amiga.
Yes.
With the umpteen discs.
Oh, let's think. I think I know Monkey Island 2 came with 6 discs, was it?
Yeah. That's right. Monkey Island. I up to that point, I just remember being so frustrated with adventure games. I mean, I remember playing right back on my Spectrum games like The Hobbit.
Yes.
You know, these text adventure games where you type "Go North," "Open Gate."
That's right.
I do not recognise that command. So you end up getting you get frustrated and you end up typing swear words in to see what to do, you know. I remember getting frustrated with adventure games. I love the idea of these adventure games, but I just get bored of them. And
yeah.
Then Monkey Island came along, and I know we had Loom before that and Sierra's King Quest, but Monkey Island came along and someone said, you can't die in the game. And I thought, what? Really? Which I thought was a genius move, that you can't die in the game because it just promotes you to go out and, you know, explore the Monkey Island universe.
I think for me, the thing with Monkey Island is that was so irreverent and there's so much comedy touches and some of the stupid combinations that you have to do to come up with the answers to the puzzles. It just amazed me.
Rubber chicken. And pulley.
Rubber chicken with the pulley in the middle.
Wasn't that so annoying? I think I remember looking in. I had to wait for a magazine to come out with the solution, because you couldn't look on the internet in those days. You didn't have the internet, so you had to wait for a magazine to come out with the walkthrough.
That's right.
They used to do half the walkthrough, and then the following month they do the second half, and you'd be so frustrated because you've already got that far anyway, so you'd have to wait another month.
And I can remember my mum telling me when I was playing it, what are you playing that for? How would you ever figure that out when you?
Yeah, I think Monkey Island was the very first game that I genuinely laughed out loud to a video game.
Yes.
I couldn't believe the graphics, the music, the script, the comedy, and of course, from that point then, anything that LucasArts brought out,
yes,
adventure game, I had to buy.
I remember one of my all-time favourites. I think that's one of the first full talkies, because obviously there was Monkey Island pre-talkie, and then you had Monkey Island the talkie. But I remember Day of the Tentacle being one of my favourites. I absolutely loved that game.
I played that, and I didn't have the full talkie version, but I remember playing the intro, which was talkie.
Yes.
You had the voice, and I thought, I genuinely remember thinking, have I got the talkie version by mistake? with the voice, and then suddenly, you start getting the text. So, but what a great game that was as well, wasn't it? It was just.
There's so many LucasArts. There's so many LucasArts classics. I mean, I remember Outlaws and Dig as well. Do you remember the Dig?
Spielberg.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that what a great game. So atmospheric. The music in that. I remember the music being so atmospheric.
Yeah.
That was such a great.
And this was back in the day. I mean, now we kind of appreciate video games a lot less. I think we all take it for granted, but you got to remember that this is back in the day when you'd probably never ever seen anything with the depth, and the sound was more amazing than the graphics in a way. It was just so sort of movie worthy.
Yeah, I mean the graphics, your mind filled in the blanks and made up the blocky graphics, but with the sound and the music, I think it helped you become immersed in the game. I think now these days we're a little bit too spoiled with video games, where obviously we need the game to tell the whole story for us and show us everything on the screen. I sound so old now.
Don't worry, I'm joining you. Okay.
I must admit, I am playing. I'm a latecomer to the PlayStation 3, and I've just finished all the Uncharted games.
Oh, so good.
They've just blown me away, and I'm playing The Last of Us right now.
Oh, man.
It's great games.
See,
classic games.
I knew before I even rang you, Rob, that we were going to get on, and now you're telling me that you played Uncharted, which I absolutely adore, and you're telling me that you played The Last of Us, which, in my opinion, is the best game on PlayStation 3. I think it's amazing.
Don't tell me how it ended, Mike, because I'm still playing it.
Don't worry, I won't do that. I'm not one of them. I don't do that.
I just got to the university, so I don't remember that bit. I just got to the university, so.
You got some amazing stuff to come, man.
No, it's such a good game.
It is.
Uncharted games. I mean, all right, how close to Indiana Jones can those games be?
That is basically Indiana Jones, the video game.
They've just announced they're bringing a film out of Uncharted, aren't they? They're
yes.
Yeah, so we're going to see Uncharted on the big screen,
and The Last of Us as well.
Yeah, that's right. We are, aren't we? Which that's going to be. They're going to be. I'll definitely be going to see those.
So I know you're a big Star Wars fan, but we have to talk Trek because I know you're a Trekker as well. And
yeah.
What is it about Star Trek that caught your eye initially?
I started seriously watching Star Trek when The Next Generation came to the UK shores.
Nice.
Which 1991. We were 4 years behind America.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah. Which I remember watching on BBC Two.
Wait. Did that start in 1991? I feel old now. Now I feel old.
It came to UK TV in 1991. It was 1987 that it came to American TV.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but we didn't get it until 4 years later, and it was on. I think it was on BBC Two that we had.
That's right.
Yeah, Next Generation. About 6 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Showing Star Trek Next Generation, and I remember watching Encounter at Farpoint, which isn't the best episode, but at the time I thought, well, this is pretty cool. The the special effects are. And I love Q as well, the character in the first episode.
Great actor as well.
Yeah, John Delancey. Yeah, great guy as well. Actually, I met him at Destination Star Trek a few years back, and he is a great guy. But,
very cool.
Yeah, Next Generation sort of did it for me. I'm not the world's biggest original series fan. I know a lot of people are throwing stuff at their iPods right now.
I'm not myself. I'm not the biggest fan of the original series. I can't tell you why. I find it really hard to get into. I think if you were born of that era when it came out, you'd probably think it was the greatest thing ever. But for me, it's all about DS9, I'm afraid. I think
DS9
DS9 to me just sums up A, what Star Trek is all about, and B, the best captain for me, Benjamin Sisko, is an absolute legend.
Yeah, do you know what? I give Benjamin Sisko so much respect just for not even thinking about punching Q in the face, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that alone gets a lot of respect from me.
And I remember stuff like I remember episodes like Trials and Tribulations where they done the throwback to the original series, and that was amazing.
Oh, it was so clever how they did that. But yeah, I mean, I was saying today to someone, I was talking Trek to someone today about Deep Space Nine, and I really do think it was a love letter to Star Trek fans. Say, here's Deep Space Nine. You know, I know not everybody gets Deep Space Nine and the first season and half the second season. It's a bit, you know, you got the Bajoran.
Yeah, it was slow going.
Yeah, but then when you get to the Dominion, and you get
man,
you know, you get, in my opinion, some of the best, not just some of the best Star Trek, but some of the best sci-fi that's ever been made. And I really do think that Deep Space Nine is some of the finest TV that has ever been made.
I also held out an infinity to their series that not a lot of Star Trek fans like, but I actually liked Enterprise. I think it ended way too soon, and I tell you why. I got to admit, I held my hands up, and it's only because of Scott Bakula, because I'm a massive Quantum Leap fan, and I also think Scott Bakula is just a straight up nice guy.
I'll tell you this, right? I know I'm kind of name dropping, but I went to Destination Star Trek London in 2012, and I was lucky enough to meet the 5 captains, not the movie captains, right? So Shatner, Picard, Avery Brooks, Kate McGrail, and Scott Bakula. And the coolest guy out of all the 5 captains, Scott Bakula.
Really?
What a nice guy. He took your time, shook your hand, and he talked to you. And he was out, because I don't do much cosplay, but when I go to a Star Trek convention, they always try to break the world record for the most Star Trek fans in cosplay, so I always dress up. And I've got an Enterprise jumpsuit. So I was in an Enterprise jumpsuit having my photo taken with Scott Bakula, so of course he stopped to talk, and what a great guy he is. He really is.
There's just something, I think the character and the personality of Scott Bakula is what made me watch Quantum Leap, because that wasn't even the premise of Quantum Leap. I mean, I love the show wholeheartedly, but I don't know if you're a fan, but it's just...
I didn't watch every episode, but I am. Yeah, I watched some. Curiously, for some reason, I've got Scott Bakula's album. I don't know why.
Do you know what? I didn't even know he had one.
Yeah, all the songs that I think he must have done quite a bit of singing on Quantum Leap at one point or another, because they're all on this album and they're all related back to Quantum Leap. And he hasn't actually got a bad voice, but I was going to say keep that one between ourselves, but it's a bit late now, isn't it?
That's very cool. I'm a bit jealous just for that now.
You're going to look that up now, aren't you?
Yeah. eBay, hold on. So going back to DS9, tell me about your meeting with Avery Brooks. I mean, how was he?
Avery Brooks is such a deep guy.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can tell that if you were in a conversation with Avery Brooks, then he would be very, very deep. Absolutely loves his music. In the evening for Destination Star Trek London, there was a Star Trek party,
right?
And there was a piano on the stage, and Avery Brooks comes out and starts playing some very cool jazz and blues, and he's so passionate about his music. You can tell. Such a cool guy. He is like the Billy Williams of Star Trek.
I was within 2 days. I think he was booked up at the time, but I kept emailing his agent, and I was within 2 days of interviewing him for a podcast. But he was so busy at the time. But I'm still trying, Rob. I'm still trying.
keep me informed.
I mean, that would be... I would love to speak to him one-on-one, even if that's just for 10, 15 minutes. I think, like you say, he has so many stories to tell.
Yeah. Maybe you should say, I'd love to talk to him about his music, and then once he's on, we can just talk Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. We can get a three-way Skype going, no problem, mate. We'll do that.
But Deep Space Nine, I say to my wife, you know, she knows that Deep Space Nine is actually like my comfort blanket.
Yes.
If I'm having a particular time, going through a bad time, Deep Space Nine usually goes on the TV.
Do you know what? Tell me about it. I've got the DVD box set, and when I finish work, if I've had a crap day, that is the greatest. I mean, you can just put... That's like Quantum Leap. You can just put it on, and you know... Like, I've seen some of the episodes hundreds of times, but I can still watch them again, and you know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, The Visitor, for instance. I'm not ashamed to say that when I watched that episode, The Visitor, with Jake trying to get his father back, you know, where
yes,
his father disappears, and then he lives his whole life trying to get, Cisco back. I'm not ashamed to say that still brings a tear to my eye when I watch that episode. That is, if anybody is not convinced by Star Trek or Deep Space Nine, look up The Visitor, watch that. That is the finest hour of Star Trek ever made. That and The Inner Light from Next Generation.
I mean, I don't know what it is about who cast calls these guys, or who brings them on board, because whoever selects them to be captain or the roles they play, that is really, really clever in my opinion, you know?
It was just, perfect casting. I mean, Armin Shimmerman as Quark, easily one of my favourite sci-fi characters, him and Rom.
Oh, I'll tell you something that was funny. I went to Las Vegas 2 or 3 years ago. No, not 2 or 3 years ago, about, say, 7, 8 years ago, and I went to the Star Trek experience.
Yeah, I went there. I got a funny story about that as well.
I was sitting in Quark's bar, right, and that was me and my brother, and we were sitting there minding our own business, having a drink, having a Tarkalian tea, you know. And along comes Quark. He's standing behind me and my brother, and he starts talking, completing utter gibberish, but it's the most amazing 5 minutes of my life.
I tell you, myself and Rach, Rach, my wife, we did that. It must have been, it was 2003.
Yes.
We went, and we were sat in Quark's bar and with the Calian tea. We had what call breach. Which was this bottle with ice and every mix of alcohol in it. They would only serve you 2 of those. So we had 2. You know, but Quark comes up behind and starts chatting at Rach, and I said, "You can have her for 4 bars of Girl Press Platinum," and he just took. He said, "That's a deal," and he just took Rach away, just took her out of the bar. He came back without her, and I said, "You do realise that I'm going to need a contract?" And as soon as I mentioned contract, he went out and brought her back.
That is absolutely brilliant.
I thought 4 bars of Gold Press Platinum was a good deal.
So, how about Rach? I mean, is she a sci-fi girl? How does she feel about you and your nerdy side?
I'm slowly brainwashing Rach. No, I mean, she doesn't like Star Wars or Star Trek, but she does like Walking Dead and Fallen Skies, and she likes movies like AI and iRobot and War of the Worlds. She absolutely loves those kind of movies. Those are her favourite kind of movies. So she's a geek. She appreciates Star Trek and Star Wars.
That's cool.
So she loves torture as well.
Outside of the bearded trio, what are your favourite movies?
Well, that's like asking me what my favourite John Williams soundtrack is. It's asking me what my favourite movie is like asking what my favourite food is. It really is, depends what mood I'm in.
Yes.
Sometimes a curry or a pasta or something like that. But I like. I was trying to think of the worst film possible then, just to watch you up. No, I would have to say, can I say the Back to the Future films, even though Spielberg was executive producer? Does that count?
Rob, you can talk to me about Back to the Future for another hour and a half if you want to. I mean, I love Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Oh, great Scott. Yeah, Back to the Future movies, Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Those, National Lampoon's Vacation, all the movies there.
Especially the Christmas one.
I almost said the Christmas one by mistake then, but yeah, Christmas one is absolutely fantastic.
Oh my God, Uncle Eddie is the best character. Come on.
Whenever I go out with my mates, we usually end up quoting some film. Yeah.
Shit is full.
don't do that. Where else is it? Apollo. Can I carry on now? Apollo 13.
Yes.
That film. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh yes.
Bills, and I got to say Bowfinger as well because it's such an underrated movie.
Awesome film. Okay, I got a recommendation for you because I don't know if you've seen this film, but you need to check this out. Right? It's not got the greatest actors in, but if you're a fan of time travel movies, you're gonna like it. That's called Frequency, and it's got Jim.
I have heard of it.
It's got Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid, and it is awesome. So check it out, man. If you haven't seen it before.
I will. I'll actually check to see if it's on Netflix, and I will actually watch that now, and I'll let you know.
It is such. I don't know what it is. It's one of them films where I don't know why it grabbed me. I don't know. It isn't just the time travel element of it, but just the movie itself is one of my all-time favourites. It is such a good movie. I mean, if you love The Truman Show, if you love Back to the Future, if you love Quantum Leap.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I'm going to check that out now. That sounds awesome. Another movie is
Which one was that?
I love Day the Earth Stood Still. I absolutely love that movie as well.
Oh, that is an awesome film.
Yeah, I love Keanu Reeves. No, I'm not. I love the 1951. The 1951 Michael Rene, Day the Earth Stood Still. I absolutely love that movie.
How about the new Planet of the Apes? Are you a fan of those?
Do you know what? I've missed the boat on them. And I know it was on Channel 4 the other week, or last week. It's on my plan. So I'm going to watch the first one this week and get up to speed on them.
Not before Frequency, though, Rob. All right.
Okay. All right. Do you know what? I've just looked up Frequency, and I'm going to make sure I can see if I can get it on Netflix, and I'm going to do that now. Actually.
Rob, I got to tell you, man, it's been an absolutely amazing chat. I've loved speaking to you. I really appreciate the fact that you've took the time out.
Yeah, we could talk for hours, couldn't we?
We're going to have to do a part 2, man. Hey, you up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm up for that. Yeah. As long as the listeners want it.
I'm sure they will. You're a nice guy. You're a solid guy as well. And I thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
It's an honour to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me on. I can't wait to listen to it back.
That is Rob Wainfur of the Bearded Trio. This is Carl Egger, and you have been listening to Monday Night Carlo.